Welcome back to Fast Market. I'm Tom White, joined by my co-host Kevin Hinks. But let's take a look at the markets real quick before we get to our next segment. We've got all four major indices in the red, led to the downside by that NASDAQ 100, which is off 2.5%. S&P 500 down 1.5%. And the Dow Jones Industrial Average down 1.15%, and the Russell down just over 1%. We've got that VIX back near the 24 level as we're seeing this massive sell-off to kick off the week. But now let's bring in our next guest, and that's going to be Landon Swan. He's a co-founder of LikeFolio.com, and we're discussing beverages and drinks ahead of Pepsi's earnings tomorrow. Welcome to the show, Landon. Now, if you look at this company, we always put it in the beverage segment, right? But I don't think of it as a beverage segment. I think of this as a snack food company because that's where they're the leader in. What are you guys seeing at LikeFolio as far as data goes?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that all the ad wars of the 90s between Coke and Pepsi kind of have us all thinking that Coke equals Pepsi and vice versa. But really, Pepsi is very, very different. They make, I think, most of their money off of snacks. And what's really interesting is, you compare how these two companies have done from right before the pandemic started, March of 2020. And what's interesting is, Pepsi has done really well on a stock basis, right? They got up about 8% higher than their pre-pandemic levels. Now they're down on this sell-off to about where they started that whole that area. But then Coke never got back, and it's actually trading at 13% lower. So you can see which one of these companies actually benefited from the pandemic. It's the one that sold snacks. People were staying home. They were eating less healthy, but that's all changed now. You can see this chart here. What we're looking at is the change from 2019 in the different types of mentalities when it comes to eating and what people are looking for. Obviously, a big one looking for boosting immunity, huge there. People weren't really talking about that back in 2019. Now it's the monster. Also talking about digestive and gut health, plus 100% year over year. And then you can see all the other ones. They're falling in line, and you can kind of see that snacking is off 5%, right? So that's bad for Pepsi. Coke is going to be unaffected by that. But I guess the benefit to Pepsi has already happened over the last year and a half. So what's interesting is how are these companies taking advantage of this? And so, many people may not know that while Pepsi has all the eetos brands, all the unhealthy stuff that you can go on for 10 minutes listing all the unhealthy snacks, they've actually got a lot of stuff, that are tackling this. Different market segments, such as like the popcorners, which is a more healthy snack, the Muscle Milk's a protein shake, Evolve, which is a plant-based protein drink, Kavita, which is the hits on that digestive and gut health, that's a probiotic, and all kinds of different things. So when you look at Pepsi, they are taking advantage of this through many different brands, whereas Coke is still sort of sticking to the waters or in the drinks. So I think that Pepsi, while they do have a foundation in snacking, and I think that's huge for them, and snacking being off 5% versus 2019 is not good. We also see the same for all of Pepsi's snacking products. They're all off versus 2019, but they are clearly making moves to be, I guess, more proactive in taking advantage of this health-conscious consumer.
Yeah, Landon, the Quaker part of Pepsi is they've had some nice upside surprises in the last earnings. And I know it is very popular to talk about salty snacks and everything that ends in Edo and say that we're trying to avoid those, except no one does ever avoid them, is it? Any big game comes and no one's eating granola bars watching the big football game. So this Frito-Lay, 42% of Pepsico, which is what differentiates it from Coca-Cola, which is a pure beverage company. But here's the question. The new trends on Pepsi Zero Sugar and these companies trying to come out with healthier, ways to eat, to drink soda without sugar. How are those brands doing, or who's the leader in that? I mean, if you look at Pepsi, they've got so many different brands of drinks, of soda, of sugary drinks or lack of sugary drinks. How are they doing in the zero sugar fight versus the other firms, in your opinion, of course?
Yeah, sure. So what we're seeing is actually a lot of the winners, I guess, would be brands not labeled Coke and Pepsi, but maybe owned by Coke
Right.
and Pepsi. So Topo Chico by Coke is doing extremely well. A lot of growth, very high happiness. And then on the other side, Bubbly is doing very well by Pepsi. So those are the two sort of sparkling waters. Topo Chico does have an alcoholic version. Bubbly does not yet. Not sure if they're going that path or not. But you'll see a lot of that, and you'll actually see that the waters, the classic waters, Aquafina by Pepsi and Dasani by Coke, are actually falling behind. So it's the new stuff. It's you've either got an energy element, or you've got a sparkling element, or you've got some kind of I guess, pitch, like Coke Smartwater with their clarity, renewal, and tranquility. There's always a different kind of angle that hits on the if you drink this, you're healthy kind of angle. And I think that's the key for these companies. And I don't think that a lot of success is coming from, Coke with this or Pepsi with that. Is a separate brand that's doing really well. And maybe consumers don't even know who owns these, and they don't really care. They're just going for which product they like the best.
Yeah, I like that, Landon. They don't change the name into some Pepsi brand. They keep them separate, and you mentioned a couple there. But now if you take a look at some of the acquisitions, this is an M&A hot area at this point. You had Pepsi buy SodaStream in 2018 for $3.2 billion, Rockstar Energy for $3.9 billion last year. Are you seeing any data from these two entities, which are Pepsi-owned, that they're actually helping them? Because they've got, I think, an array of over 20 brands underneath this umbrella.
Yeah, they've got a ton. And, if you look at kind of the energy sector, I would say that, Rockstar's doing okay, but Red Bull's the monster there. I mean, Red Bull's the leader there. I shouldn't use that word. Monster's second place. And then everyone else is just kind of, fighting for table scraps. I will say that Celsius is doing extremely well, very high growth, very high happiness. That's owned by neither company. And the Coke Energy brand is actually kind of a flop, not doing well at all. Rockstar's, like I said, it's okay, but Coke's has fallen flat, whereas Red Bull and Monster dominating the market, and Celsius is kind of the outside favorite on the, coming up and making a big comeback.
Now, if you look at that, some of the data points that you had on your chart, it's 2 years, right? So you're probably coming from maybe mid to low levels. Do you see that data changing rapidly or relatively quickly based on, hey, we're basically reopened now. Now I'm not going to be checking on boosting immunity or digestive and gut health. Are you seeing that turn around quickly?
Well, we see boosting immunity. That's the big one, right? At plus 560%. That was a very small focus before. And that one ebbs and flows with news of COVID, as you can imagine. Like, the more people talking about a new variant or hospitalizations or anything like that, it's going to go up. And then the more relaxed people get and cases going down, it goes down. So it ebbs and flows with that. And there is a bit of a fear factor when it comes to obviously COVID and all of that. So the more the media talks about it, the more that's going to be the play. And these companies are definitely smart enough to tackle that and go after that and focus on that. Because if you're staring at this, they have data, I'm sure, similar to this that tells them people are really, really focused on being healthy, boosting their immunity, and giving themselves the best chance for a healthy lifestyle. And so both companies are smart. Coca-Cola's got the Smartwater with all the benefits there, and then Pepsi's got a lot of new things coming out as well that, again, just focus on what people want right now, which you can see from the chart. A lot of it is very kind of old school, traditional health stuff, but then a lot of it is more based on fear, boosting the immunity, and you got to give them what they want, and it will sell.
Landon, one last question on a beverage that we didn't talk about with Pepsi, and that is actually a beverage that outsells Pepsi right now, which is Gatorade, right? How is that evolving with all these other drinks going on? Because Gatorade is an enormous seller and probably, arguably, in terms of sports and athletics, their most high-profile drink that they come out with. What are you seeing in terms of data on Gatorade?
Yeah, well, so that's a great point. So if you think about Gatorade, it's all athletes, generally speaking, and that doesn't necessarily mean high-level athletes, right? This is just your kids are playing sports or whatever. You're a weekend warrior and you're drinking Gatorade. So this is a huge segment of the population. And as sports were shut down, Gatorade was hurt, obviously. Now that they're coming back, it is making a comeback. It is outperforming Coke and Pepsi, the core brands.
Yep.
But it is not doing as well as some of those others, like the sparkling waters or the healthy waters, that kind of thing. So it's doing better than, like I said, better than the pure sugar plays of Coke and Pepsi, Mountain Dew, and all that, but not as well as the waters with the added health benefits.
All right, a great discussion there on PepsiCo and those other beverage companies. Appreciate it, Landon. That is Landon Swan. He's a co-founder of LikeFolio.com, joining us for that discussion.